Hey guys, tonight we're diving into a world where the clatter of wooden spoons and the hiss of steaming pots wasn't just background noise. It was the soundtrack of innovation. You find yourself in a bustling Ming Dynasty kitchen centuries ago in China, where the air is thick with the aromas of simmering broths, sizzling spices, and the faint earthy scent of fired clay vessels. Imagine the hands that crafted tools not just to cook, but to elevate everyday meals into little celebrations of flavor and function. You probably won't survive a day juggling those heavy pots or fanning charcoal fires without modern comforts. But hey, that's part of the charm, right? So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and local time down below, so we can share this mellow trip around the globe together. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Now, let's stir the pot literally on some kitchen innovations that shaped the Ming Dynasty meal experience. The Ming era, 1368 to 1644, was a golden age for culinary creativity, not just in recipes, but in the very tools used to craft food. While you might think the fancy gadgets are a recent invention, the Ming cooks were already ahead of their time, crafting utensils and kitchenware that balanced function with the artistry of food. One mainstream fact to settle your mind: the Ming period saw a significant boom in porcelain production, particularly the famous blue and white pottery, which wasn't just for show but practical in kitchens as well. These weren't fragile display pieces tucked away in cabinets. Many were durable cooking vessels designed to hold heat evenly and resist cracking under rapid temperature changes. You can almost hear the gentle clink of those pots being set on the fire. A quirky tidbit: some Ming cooks favored an ingenious multi-chambered cooking pot designed to steam rice in one section while simultaneously boiling broth in another. Imagine your instant noodles cup on steroids, but made from fine ceramics and hand-painted with intricate designs. It was like having a portable buffet all in one pot. Talk about efficiency before meal prep was a thing. Historians still argue whether some of these tools were widespread kitchen staples or reserved for elite households only. There's debate about how common such multifunctional vessels really were among everyday folks, but evidence from archaeological digs suggests these innovations weren't just limited to palaces. Even modest homes prized clever kitchen gear that made daily cooking less of a chore and more of a ritual. Picture yourself reaching for a heavy clay pot, feeling its warmth, and knowing that its design was perfected over generations. Each curve and thickness balancing the heat to prevent burnt bottoms or uneven cooking. It's a tactile connection between you and centuries of food lovers who relied on the same tools to turn raw ingredients into nourishing meals. And the sensory experience? The subtle smoky scent of charcoal mingling with the cool, smooth surface of porcelain. The gentle scraping sound as a wooden spatula swirls through thickening sauces. The quiet drip of condensation as steam escapes from the pot's lid. These small moments formed the rhythm of a Ming kitchen, slow-paced yet bustling with purpose. It's easy to romanticize such a scene, but remember, no fancy gadgets like electric stoves or microwaves here. Just raw materials, expert craftsmanship, and a dash of culinary ingenuity. So next time you handle a modern pot or pan, tip your hat to those Ming cooks who laid the groundwork with their earthenware wonders and inventive cooking vessels. You're still in that warm, fragrant kitchen, the Ming Dynasty world swirling softly around you. Now your hands trace the smooth contours of earthenware pots, those humble yet remarkable vessels that turned the tides of cooking back then. Ming potters didn't just make pretty ceramics. They engineered kitchenware that tamed the unpredictable fire and coaxed the most flavor from every ingredient. Think of these pots as the unsung heroes in a chef's daily battle against undercooked rice or burnt stews. Mainstream fact alert: the Ming period saw the peak of porcelain technology, and these pots were prized for their heat retention and resistance to cracking. They made use of special clay that, when fired at precise temperatures, became hard yet porous enough to absorb and release heat slowly, a sort of ancient slow cooker effect without buttons or timers. You could set it on the coals and come back hours later to a perfectly simmered broth. Here's a quirky twist for you. Some pots had cleverly designed lids that doubled as strainers, with tiny holes artfully arranged to let steam escape while keeping the delicious juices inside. Picture a pot that's both a pressure cooker and a steamer, but without any noisy whistles, just a gentle hiss and the occasional pop. Those lids sometimes had little knobs shaped like mythical creatures, blending function and art in a way only the Ming could. Now, historians still argue whether these intricately designed pots were a common sight in village homes or mostly found in wealthy households and imperial kitchens. Some suggest that the more ornate pieces were status symbols, while the simpler earthenware was the real workhorse of daily cooking. However, archaeological digs across southern China have unearthed a range of these pots, hinting that even modest families valued durability and clever design. Imagine the texture of these vessels, cool and smooth to the touch before heating, then warming gradually in your hands, carrying the comforting weight of a slow-cooked meal. The scent of the clay mingles faintly with the food, adding an earthy undertone you don't get with modern metal pots. It's a sensory connection between the cook and the earth itself. Here's a little joke to keep you cozy. Why don't Ming Dynasty chefs ever get bored? Because their pots always keep them fired up. I'm here all night, folks. The quiet crackle of charcoal beneath these pots was the background music to their daily rhythm. And speaking of rhythms, those pots demanded patience. You couldn't rush a meal in the Ming kitchen. Each pot was a slow conversation between heat, clay, and food. This slow-cooked approach made for dishes rich in flavor and soul, a far cry from today's microwave dinners. The earthenware vessels turned cooking into a meditative art, one you could almost fall asleep to if you weren't too busy stirring. So, as you settle deeper into this Ming kitchen reverie, appreciate how these pots represent more than just cookware. They are the bridge connecting generations, the tangible proof of a people who turned necessity into creativity, transforming simple ingredients into lasting traditions. Still wrapped in the comforting warmth of the Ming kitchen, you notice something remarkable: how they kept food fresh without any electricity or refrigerators humming in the background. It's easy to take cold storage for granted today, but back then, clever preservation was an art form, essential to daily survival. You might imagine large iceboxes, but the reality was subtler and surprisingly inventive. One mainstream fact: the Ming Dynasty pioneered early forms of refrigeration by using ice harvested in winter and stored underground in specially designed icehouses called bingfang. These insulated pits, often lined with straw and clay, kept blocks of ice from melting well into the hotter months. Food would be placed nearby to stay cool and fresh, a precursor to modern refrigeration methods. Here's a curious tidbit to tickle your brain. Some Ming households also used earthenware jars partially buried in cool soil or submerged in running streams to keep perishables fresh. These root cellars were cleverly placed to take advantage of natural cooling, and some jars had double walls filled with water that evaporated slowly, dropping the temperature inside. A natural air conditioner long before your AC unit ever dreamed of existing. Historians still argue whether these methods were accessible to the average family or mainly reserved for nobility and imperial kitchens. While the wealthy certainly had better access to icehouses and underground storage, evidence suggests that more common folk ingeniously used nature's chill whenever possible, sometimes burying food in riverbanks or cellar-like pits beneath their homes. Picture yourself walking barefoot through a cool, dim pantry, the faint, moist smell of earth mingling with preserved fruits and salted fish. The gentle dripping of water outside and the faint chill in the air create a soothing ambience, a stark contrast to the busy kitchens above. It's a sensory reminder that preservation wasn't just practical. It was part of the household's rhythm, a slow dance with time and temperature. Here's a light joke to keep you smiling. Why did the Ming cook never complain about leftovers? Because they always had a cool plan for them. Yes, that one's a bit corny, but hey, we're here to relax, not roast. And in this quiet space, you can almost feel the patience required to store and prepare food carefully, knowing that a meal today depended on yesterday's foresight. The Ming's food preservation was a lesson in balance between nature's gifts and human ingenuity, turning time itself into an ingredient. So, as you drift further into this softly humming world, remember that keeping food fresh was more than necessity. It was a subtle art, a gentle embrace of the seasons, and a slow, steady pulse that kept Ming kitchens alive through the centuries. As you continue wandering through this mellow Ming kitchen, your fingers brush over the familiar shapes of spice mills and grinding tools, those humble devices that transformed raw ingredients into the fragrant powders and pastes defining Chinese cuisine. You probably don't give much thought to how a pinch of pepper or a dash of cinnamon got from bark or seed to your dish. But back then, these simple tools were the quiet magicians of flavor. Here's a solid fact to chew on. The mortar and pestle were staples in Ming kitchens, crafted from sturdy materials like stone or porcelain, perfect for grinding spices, herbs, and even rice. These tools allowed cooks to create freshly ground blends, which not only boosted taste but also helped preserve the spice's aromatic oils. A big deal before airtight containers existed. Now for a quirky nugget. Some Ming spice grinders were cleverly designed with detachable parts to be easily cleaned and even doubled as mini storage containers. Imagine a tool that's part grinder, part spice jar, all wrapped up in elegant ceramic artistry. It's like having your multitasking kitchen assistant centuries before smart kitchen gadgets became a buzzword. Historians still argue whether specialized grinding tools were primarily used in imperial kitchens or enjoyed widespread use among ordinary households. The fine craftsmanship of some surviving pieces suggests elite use, but archaeological finds from common villages reveal simpler versions, showing that the art of grinding was essential and accessible. Imagine the gentle rhythmic sound of a pestle crushing dried peppercorns, the powder slowly filling the air with warmth and spice. The coarse, tactile feeling under your palm connects you directly to centuries of cooks who relied on this repetitive motion to coax out flavors, patiently preparing each meal. Here's a little joke to keep things light. Why did the Ming cook always carry a mortar and pestle? Because they liked to grind through their problems one spice at a time. Alright, I'll stick to history after this. The sensory scene here is soothing. The faint dust of spices settling on wooden counters. The subtle scent of crushed star anise mingling with the moist earthiness of fresh herbs. It's an intimate dance between hands and tools, turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. So as you settle in, listen for that slow, steady grinding rhythm. A reminder that flavor isn't rushed but patiently built, one carefully crushed seed at a time. It's the kind of kitchen calm that gently nudges your mind toward rest, perfectly in tune with the Ming's culinary heartbeat. The steamy kitchen air carries a faint whisper of bamboo. As you settle your gaze on one of the Ming Dynasty's most ingenious inventions, the bamboo steamer. You might recognize this simple yet elegant device from modern dim sum restaurants, but its roots run deep in history, turning ordinary ingredients into delicate, steamed treasures. Here's a mainstream fact. Bamboo steamers, composed of layered woven baskets, allowed cooks to steam multiple dishes simultaneously over boiling water. This method preserved the food's moisture, nutrients, and subtle flavors far better than direct frying or boiling. They were lightweight, reusable, and eco-friendly, qualities that made them kitchen staples then and now. A quirky detail to make you smile. Some steamers were crafted with small holes or lattice patterns that created distinctive steam signatures, believed by some cooks to influence the texture of certain dumplings. While it sounds a bit like kitchen superstition, these subtle design differences may have genuinely affected airflow and cooking outcomes. Historians still debate how intentional these tweaks were versus simple craftsmanship quirks. Imagine holding the warm bamboo, feeling its smooth, natural texture, and breathing in the fragrant steam rising gently from the basket below. The soft hissing sound is like a lullaby for the senses, inviting patience and calm as you wait for those fluffy buns or silky dumplings to finish cooking. Here's a lighthearted joke to keep you cozy. Why did the dumpling go to school? Because it wanted to be a little steamed up. Alright, I'm here all night. The sensory experience in a Ming kitchen with bamboo steamers is gentle and rhythmic. The soft patter of steam droplets, the faint earthy scent of bamboo mingling with sweet pork or vegetable fillings, and the slow, steady warmth that fills the room. Steaming wasn't just a cooking technique, it was a philosophy. It embraced gentleness, preserving the essence of ingredients and inviting cooks to slow down, listen, and respect the process. This ethos resonates today in how we savor steamed delights, connecting us quietly to those ancient kitchen moments. So as you let that warm, fragrant steam envelop your senses, you feel the Ming kitchen's pulse. Steady, mindful, and full of simple wonders, perfect for drifting off into a peaceful sleep. The flicker of a charcoal fire draws your attention next, where the ancient stoves of the Ming kitchen quietly hold the heart of every meal. Unlike the flashy gas burners or electric hobs you know today, these stoves were crafted from brick, clay, and stone, carefully designed to contain and control fire, a true art of heat management passed down through generations. Here's a solid fact to anchor you. Ming stoves commonly featured a chamber where charcoal burned, with openings to adjust airflow and regulate temperature. These designs allowed cooks to shift from gentle simmering to fiery stir-frying with surprising precision, essential for the diverse cooking styles of the time. A quirky bit to keep you smiling. Some stoves included small compartments for storing ash and embers, so that leftover heat could be recycled to warm the kitchen or ignite the next fire, like an early eco-friendly design before green was a thing. This recycling of warmth made winter cooking a little less daunting and was a clever nod to resourcefulness in an era without central heating. Historians still argue about the regional variations of stove design and how widely accessible advanced models were. While wealthier households and temples boasted elaborate constructions, more modest families often used portable clay braziers or simple fire pits, adapting to their environment and resources. Imagine the scent of burning wood mingling with the earthy aroma of clay and stone, the faint crackle of charcoal, and the warm glow casting gentle shadows on the kitchen walls. The heat radiates softly, inviting cooks to work at a slow, deliberate pace. A far cry from today's instant heat-up culture. And here's a gentle joke for the road. Why don't Ming chefs ever get burned out? Because they always keep their cool, with adjustable stove vents. Yes, a bit of stove humor for the night shift. As you feel the stove's warm embrace, you appreciate the balance Ming cooks struck, mastering fire's unpredictability with clever design, turning heat from foe to friend. It was a dance of patience, skill, and respect for elemental forces, all of which contributed to the slow, soothing rhythm of the kitchen. So as you settle further into this comforting glow, let the steady crackle and gentle warmth lull your mind, a perfect companion to the soft hum of history unfolding before you. That familiar sizzle and swirl on the stove brings you to the mighty wok, the star of the Ming kitchen and perhaps the most versatile cooking vessel ever invented. You probably take it for granted now, but back then, this round-bottomed pan was revolutionary, capable of everything from quick stir-frying to slow braising, steaming, and even deep frying. Here's a mainstream fact. The wok's design, with its deep, rounded shape, allowed heat to concentrate at the bottom, while the sloping sides gave cooks room to toss and turn ingredients swiftly, achieving that signature wok hei flavor, literally the breath of the wok. This smoky, charred essence is still celebrated in Chinese cooking today. Now, a quirky detail to chew on. Some scholars debate the wok's exact origin, whether it emerged during the Ming Dynasty or even earlier in the Song Dynasty. Others suggest it evolved from a simple pan to a multitasking tool only later. What's clear is the wok became central to Ming kitchens, transforming cooking into a dynamic performance. Picture holding a well-seasoned wok, its blackened surface smooth and warm from years of use. The gentle clang of a wooden spatula scraping the metal, the hiss of oil meeting hot metal, the rhythmic stir and toss. It's a dance as old as time, full of motion and mindfulness. Here's a light joke for the night. Why do Ming cooks never get bored? Because their wok's always on fire. I promise that's the last pun for now. The wok wasn't just practical. It embodied the philosophy of balance and harmony, heat and food, fire and technique. Historians still debate how widely the wok was used outside urban centers, with some rural areas favoring simpler cookware, but no one denies its iconic place in Chinese culinary history. So as you listen to the soft sizzle and feel the heat, imagine yourself mastering the wok's rhythm, patient, steady, yet alive with energy, a perfect metaphor for the Ming kitchen's pulse. The scent of salty seas and sweet harvests lingers faintly in the air, as your eyes fall upon the humble tools for handling salt and sugar, two flavor enhancers that shaped Ming dining experiences in subtle but profound ways. These weren't just simple seasonings. They represented the delicate balance of taste and preservation that Ming cooks mastered with skillful tools. A solid fact, salt was often stored in large ceramic jars, sometimes with built-in scoops or measuring spoons crafted from bamboo or carved wood. This helped cooks portion it precisely, as too much salt could ruin a dish, and too little left food bland. Sugar, meanwhile, often came in solid blocks or molded cakes, which were grated or broken down with small knives or pestles, an early form of controlled sweetness. Here's a quirky detail. Some sugar molds were elaborately decorated, featuring animals or auspicious symbols, making the act of sweetening food a small ceremony. There's even evidence of sugar sculptures, used in special feasts, though historians still argue whether these were common or reserved for nobility. Either way, sugar's rise in Ming kitchens marked a shift toward more nuanced flavors. Imagine running your fingers over the rough texture of a sugar cake or the smooth surface of a ceramic salt jar, feeling the weight of these precious ingredients and the tools designed to honor them. The tactile experience connected cooks deeply to their craft, turning seasoning into an art form. Here's a gentle joke to sweeten your night. Why did the Ming cook break up with the salt? Because it was too salty in the relationship. Yes, I'm here all night with these, so buckle up. The sensory rhythm of seasoning, measuring, grinding, sprinkling, added a quiet meditation to cooking, a careful calibration of taste that required patience and precision. Salt and sugar tools were small but mighty players in this culinary orchestra. So as you drift in the cozy kitchen glow, savor the subtle importance of these flavor enhancers and their clever containers, appreciating how the Ming balanced the savory and the sweet with thoughtful, humble tools. Still nestled in the heart of the Ming kitchen, your hands come across the cutting boards and knives, tools so ordinary today. Yet in their time, they were the unsung heroes of precision and care in food preparation. The way ingredients were sliced, diced, and julienne shaped not only texture but also the timing of each dish, turning cooking into a delicate craft. Here's a mainstream fact. Ming knives were often crafted with a single piece of iron or steel, expertly sharpened and balanced for versatile use. They came in various shapes and sizes, from large cleavers for chopping bones to slender knives for fine vegetable work. Cutting boards were typically made from dense woods or bamboo, chosen for durability and hygiene. A quirky detail to chew on: some Ming chefs favored cutting boards with carved grooves or ridges designed to catch juices and prevent slipping, a kind of early non-slip kitchen mat. There's also evidence that certain wealthy households had personalized knife sets, engraved or decorated, turning mundane tools into symbols of status and skill. Historians still argue whether specialized knives and cutting boards were common in rural kitchens or mainly a feature of urban households and professional chefs. However, the importance of knife skills in Chinese cooking is undisputed, and these tools were essential in executing complex recipes. Imagine the satisfying sound of a sharp blade slicing through a crisp vegetable, the smooth surface of bamboo beneath your hands, and the precise rhythm of chopping that brings calm focus to the cook. The tactile connection between blade and board, hand and ingredient, is a dance passed down through centuries. Here's a little joke to keep things sharp. Why was the Ming chef so calm? Because they always knew how to cut through their problems. Okay, one more pun, then I promise to slow down. The sensory experience of cutting, the tactile resistance of vegetables, the sound of chopping, the visual harmony of neatly prepared ingredients, was part of the mindful, deliberate pace that characterized Ming kitchens. So, as you rest in this gentle rhythm, appreciate the quiet mastery embedded in these simple tools, where precision met patience, and every cut brought the cook closer to culinary harmony. The gentle clink of porcelain cups and the fragrant steam curling from a freshly brewed pot bring you to the Ming Dynasty's delicate world of tea brewing, a ritual both artful and calming. Tea wasn't just a drink. It was a centerpiece of social life, spiritual reflection, and, of course, a way to savor subtle flavors brewed with thoughtful tools. A firm fact, the Ming Dynasty saw the refinement of tea preparation, with specialized porcelain teapots and cups designed to enhance aroma and taste. The use of small, thin-walled cups helped cool the tea quickly, allowing drinkers to savor its delicate notes without burning their tongues. The teapots often featured fine spouts for precise pouring, turning tea-making into an elegant performance. Here's a quirky detail to sip on. Some tea sets included miniature charcoal burners that kept water warm during lengthy tea ceremonies, while others had tiny strainers or filters to catch tea leaves, innovations that mixed practicality with a deep respect for the ritual. Historians still debate how widespread these accessories were outside elite circles, but tea's cultural importance made these tools highly valued. Imagine holding a smooth porcelain cup, feeling its delicate warmth seep into your fingers as you inhale the earthy scent of brewed leaves. The quiet clinking of cups, the gentle bubbling of water, and the soft steam rising all create a sensory scene that invites calm and mindfulness. Here's a light joke to keep you cozy. Why did the Ming tea master never lose his temper? Because he always knew how to steep down. Yes, I'm steeping these jokes in history tonight. Tea brewing was more than a practical task. It was a slow, meditative process that connected the drinker with nature, tradition, and community. Every sip was a moment of peace, a gentle pause in the day's rhythm. So as you breathe in the soft steam and feel the delicate weight of porcelain, let the ancient tea ritual wash over you, soothing your senses and guiding you gently toward rest. The kitchen's quiet corner reveals another layer of Ming culinary wisdom, the art of pickling and fermentation. It's easy to overlook these time-honored techniques as mere food preservation, but in the Ming kitchen, they were alchemical transformations, turning humble vegetables and fish into rich, umami-packed delicacies that added depth and variety to daily meals. A well-known fact anchors this scene. The Ming Dynasty used large ceramic jars, often glazed to protect the contents from contamination, as fermentation vessels. These jars were carefully sealed and sometimes buried partially underground to maintain consistent temperatures, creating ideal conditions for pickling everything from mustard greens to tofu and salted fish. This method preserved food for months, even years, without refrigeration. Here's a quirky detail to savor. Some jars featured symbolic decorations believed to ward off spoilage and bad luck. Dragons, phoenixes, and other auspicious motifs painted in subtle blues and whites. There's ongoing debate among scholars whether these designs served more than an aesthetic purpose, perhaps even influencing the fermentation process by controlling light exposure or air circulation. Imagine standing beside these heavy jars, feeling the cool ceramic against your hands, smelling the pungent, earthy tang of fermenting vegetables mingled with salty sea air. The slow bubbling within the jars is almost like a heartbeat, a living process hidden just beneath the surface. This sensory richness, cool clay, sharp aroma, gentle fermentation sounds, makes the kitchen feel alive and patient. A gentle joke bubbles up. Why did the fermented vegetable break up with the fresh salad? Because it needed some space to mature. Yes, fermentation humor is a niche, but I'm fully committed tonight. The sensory experience here is layered and immersive. The jar's smooth surfaces, the tactile coolness beneath your fingertips, the complex aromas that evolve over time, all invite a slow appreciation of the kitchen's rhythms. Fermentation in Ming kitchens was less about speed and more about trust in time's transformative power. Historians still debate the exact techniques and recipes used, as many were family secrets passed down orally, leaving gaps in the written record. Yet the importance of pickled and fermented foods in sustaining the Ming diet is undisputed. These foods provided flavor, nutrition, and a quiet continuity linking generations. So as you breathe in the mingled scents and sense the jar's steady presence, let the slow magic of fermentation soothe your thoughts. In the humble bubble and fizz of pickling, there's a gentle reminder that good things come to those who wait, and that patience is, after all, a seasoning of life itself. In the soft glow of the kitchen, your attention drifts to the tools dedicated to fish and meat preparation, essential yet often overlooked heroes of the Ming culinary world. Handling protein in a time without modern refrigeration or sanitization demanded a combination of skill, clever utensils, and respect for the ingredients, turning what might seem a messy chore into a quiet ritual of care. One well-known fact: Ming cooks used specialized tools like fish scalers carved from bamboo or metal, designed to efficiently remove scales without damaging the delicate flesh underneath. Knives with slightly curved blades allowed for precise filleting, and wooden skewers served dual purposes, not only for grilling but also for testing the doneness of meat or fish. These tools were crafted to balance function with the natural resources at hand. Here's a quirky detail to make you smile. Some fishermen and cooks believed certain tools, like fish hooks or skewers, carried protective charms or inscriptions to ensure a good catch or a tender meal. While historians debate how common these beliefs were, it adds a mystical layer to the practical tools, suggesting the mingling of everyday cooking with deeper cultural meanings. Imagine feeling the smooth bamboo scaler cool in your hand, hearing the gentle scraping of scales falling onto wooden boards, the subtle scent of fresh fish mingling with the warm kitchen air, the tactile sensation of handling meat, firm but yielding, cool but alive, connects you directly with the cooks who transformed raw ingredients into sustenance with quiet reverence. A little joke to keep it light. Why did the fish bring a knife to dinner? Because it wanted to be well prepared. Okay, I'll keep the puns swimming along. The sensory rhythm of prepping fish and meat, the scrape, the slice, the gentle impaling on skewers, added a mindful pace to the kitchen's flow, reminding cooks that respect for the food was as important as the meal itself. Each tool was an extension of that respect, designed to treat ingredients with care and skill. Historians still argue about regional variations in these tools and techniques, especially between coastal and inland areas. But the importance of protein preparation remains a constant theme. These utensils and practices helped bridge the natural world and the dinner table, ensuring meals were both delicious and nourishing. So as you linger in this quiet corner, let the textures, sounds, and subtle sense of fish and meat preparation draw you deeper into the Ming kitchen's gentle pulse, slow, deliberate, and full of quiet care. The soft fabric of kitchen textiles and the delicate feel of paper tools bring a quieter, often overlooked dimension to the Ming kitchen's rhythm. Beyond a well-known fact, Ming kitchens used fine cloths made from hemp or cotton to wipe surfaces, strain broths, and even wrap delicate foods. These cloths were washable and reusable, a sustainable practice long before environmental awareness became trendy. Paper, too, was used for lining containers or wrapping items, helping keep food fresh and protecting it from pests. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some scholars suggest that certain paper types were even lightly scented or treated with herbs to repel insects, turning these simple sheets into fragrant guardians of the kitchen pantry. There's ongoing debate about how widespread this practice was, but it's a fascinating glimpse into the ingenuity woven into everyday life. Imagine the soft texture of a linen cloth smoothing over a steaming pot, the faint herbal scent lingering in the air. The quiet rustle of paper as it's carefully folded around a bundle of preserved vegetables adds a tactile calm to the bustling kitchen sounds. These sensory moments formed a backdrop of gentle order amid the lively cooking chaos. Here's a gentle joke to keep you smiling. Why did the Ming cook always carry cloth and paper? Because they knew how to wrap up their day neatly. Okay, maybe that one's a stretch. The use of textiles and paper in the kitchen wasn't glamorous, but it was essential, a silent partner ensuring cleanliness, freshness, and care. Their presence encouraged mindfulness and respect, subtle reminders that every detail mattered in the culinary dance. Historians still debate the extent to which these materials were used outside wealthy households, but surviving artifacts and records indicate that even modest homes employed cloths and paper creatively, adapting resources to daily needs. So as you hold the soft cloth and feel the crisp paper between your fingers, let these gentle tools remind you that the Ming kitchen's magic wasn't just in grand inventions, but also in the quiet, thoughtful touches that kept it running smoothly and lovingly. Now your gaze drifts toward the quiet orderliness of household inventories, the jars, cupboards, and storage solutions that kept Ming kitchens neat and functional. It's easy to overlook these behind-the-scenes players, but how food and tools were stored shaped the flow of cooking, meal preparation, and daily life itself. A key fact: Ming households often used large ceramic jars with tight-fitting lids to store grains, spices, and dried goods, protecting them from moisture and pests. Wooden cabinets and woven baskets helped organize kitchen tools and ingredients, sometimes labeled with simple calligraphy to keep everything in its place. Here's a quirky detail. Some wealthier families employed rotating spice racks or tiered shelving units, early versions of kitchen convenience, allowing cooks to access frequently used items with ease. Historians still debate whether these innovations were widespread or mainly luxuries in elite homes, but their existence hints at an emerging appreciation for kitchen efficiency. Imagine opening a lacquered wooden cabinet. The tactile feel of smooth ceramic jars and rough woven baskets grounds you in a world where organization was a form of care, turning a bustling kitchen into a harmonious workspace. A light joke bubbles up. Why did the Ming cook love their cupboards? Because they always had a storage solution. I know, I'm on a roll tonight. The sensory experience of kitchen storage, the cool touch of pottery, the earthy smell of wicker, the quiet shuffle of tools arranged just so, added a calming rhythm to the kitchen's daily chaos. It was a gentle reminder that preparation extended beyond cooking, encompassing the art of order. So as you settle into this organized space, let the quiet confidence of well-kept inventories soothe your thoughts. In the careful arrangement of jars and shelves, you find a metaphor for the Ming kitchen itself, balanced, mindful, and ready for the next meal. As you linger in the warm afterglow of the Ming kitchen, it's clear that the inventions and tools you've encountered aren't just relics of the past. They're the quiet ancestors of many modern kitchen staples. Their legacy hums softly beneath our everyday cooking, shaping how flavors develop and how meals are made, with a gentle rhythm that spans centuries and continents. A firm fact to bring us home: many of the Ming kitchen's innovations, from bamboo steamers to woks and clay pots, have endured through time, influencing not only Chinese cuisine but global cooking techniques. These inventions reflect a deep understanding of heat, texture, and flavor that remains relevant even in today's high-tech kitchens. Here's a quirky reflection. Some culinary historians note that while modern gadgets promise speed and convenience, the Ming kitchen's tools encouraged patience and mindfulness, qualities that often get lost in today's fast-paced world. There's ongoing debate about whether these traditional methods could and should be revived for health and taste benefits. Imagine gently holding a bamboo steamer, its warm surface familiar yet timeless, or hearing the steady sizzle of a wok as it performs the same dance it has for centuries. The sensory details, the earthy aroma of clay, the smoothness of porcelain, the faint crackle of charcoal, connect you across time, wrapping you in a comforting embrace of history and flavor. A final light joke for the night. Why did the Ming kitchen become so popular? Because it really knew how to stir up a good time. Alright, last one, promise. As the kitchen quiets and the embers fade, let the legacy of these inventions remind you that cooking is more than just a task. It's a conversation with the past, a slow, loving craft that nourishes body and soul alike. So as you close your eyes, feel the gentle pulse of the Ming kitchen lingering in your mind. A steady, soothing rhythm that carries you softly into rest. Now, dim the lights further, breathe deeply, and let the warmth of this ancient kitchen guide you into peaceful dreams. The humble tools and thoughtful inventions of the Ming Dynasty aren't just history. They're timeless companions on your journey to calm and comfort.